Good evening, and welcome to Xbox Tavern's Xpod Tavern episode 94th. I'm Jamie, and I'm once again joined on this wonderful Sunday evening by MPV Graham.
Oh, hi there.
How are we doing?
Yeah, good.
Good. It's not
loving the weekend.
We have got Millie Man Ian once again representing.
Hello,
Millie Man Ian. How are you? Sorry, 1.3 million Man Ian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. Wonderful. No ladies' favourite this week, but we are joined as ever by the one, the only Scotch Gruff Ross.
Hello.
Huzzah! Hello. How are you?
Hello.
I am very well, sir.
Good. I've missed out on all of the pre-game chatter because I was running around like a headless chicken. So I hope everyone's well and ready to talk Xbox video game news and excitement. Yeah, let's get into it, shall we?
Sounds
Let's
like a
party.
Do it.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to start off with something we should talk about last week, but obviously we had to skip due to, let's say, scheduling conflicts. How about that? We recently visited the wonderful EGX in London at the Excel Centre. We went last year, but we gave our thoughts on last year's one, and some of us anyway come away a little bit underwhelmed. We went back this year for the Friday, and I think Scottish Gruff and Ladies' Favourite went on Saturday as well. So I want to go to you first, Rustin, as you spent 2 days there. What is your thoughts and opinions on the show itself? We'll get into the specific games in a minute, but just did you enjoy it more this year?
Infinitely better than last year. I mean, like I say, I had never been to anything like this prior to last year. So when you were sort of coming away a wee bit underwhelmed, I was like, this was brilliant. I don't know what you're talking about. But now seeing it last year and then seeing it last year compared to this year, I can see why you thought it was underwhelming. Loads of games to play. Really busy, both the Friday and the Saturday. Saturday was a lot more chaotic, so a lot more kids running around. But no, great environment, loads to play, loads to do, quite a few fun activities. But no, I had a very good weekend down in London.
Good, very nice. And nice to come down to a more populous area than the 3 or 4 houses that you're used to.
Arse end of nowhere.
Yeah. And what about yourself, Graham? Obviously we've been many times. How did you find this year compared to last year or previous years?
Well, definitely better than last year. It was a bit scarce last year, and we kind of completed everything we wanted to trial before even lunchtime last year, whereas there was a bit more content to sort of get our teeth into this time. And yeah, it was a few key things kind of missing. There's a lot of high-profile games that could have been there, but the ones that were there, the Call of Duty and stuff, were actually approachable and playable, whereas previously when it was super busy, these queues could just stretch for hours before you even get a look in. I think it's that Stingy Ho game. I think that was taking all the queue length for this year.
Yeah, that was that.
Wo Long.
Yeah.
Wo Long, that's the one. Yeah. So that was definitely taking all the queue time around.
Which is mad, seeing as there was a free demo on Xbox Live and PlayStation Network and PC.
Way, you have a taste and you want that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
good.
Yeah. Mostly impressed.
That and House Flipper too. I couldn't believe how popular that was as well.
Yeah, that had quite a queue going around that. What about yourself, Ian, before we get into specific games, general thoughts on the exposition, as it were?
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it as well. I think it had a lot more oomph this year compared to last year. Last year felt really a bit barren, whereas this year was really good. I got a little cool poster that way.
Yep, so, very nice. Your Snorlax up there.
Snorlax, yeah, happy with that purchase. But yeah, I think it was a lot more to do, and they had some more high-profile games. It's a shame there wasn't any real the big brands like Xbox and PlayStation being there. But it was nice to see Nintendo there.
Yeah,
about the other brand, but no, they were at least there having some presence and showcasing stuff. There was a lot more games that I still found that games are already out, which is still really good as well, because it shows that that game's already out. When is it? I can play it now. So if you enjoyed it, you can go pick it up straight away.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk about one of them in a little while. My thoughts on the show are up already. Much like you, are definitely infinitely better than last year. Much more variety, much more things to see and do. But it still lacked that, like you guys were saying, that real big hitter. I know they had Call of Duty there, and they had obviously Sonic, which we'll get into, but they were like the 2 big hitters, and then it almost seemed that things like the shops and the retro area took up as much space, if not more, than the actual games you could play. And even wandering through the indie bit, there were some things I wish I had gone and tried in retrospect, but there was I was also looking for no. Like you said, either I've already played them or that doesn't really catch my interest. Whereas before, I'd be all about it. But
and that's what I mean. Maybe it needed stuff where there was more games that are not out. So that caught my eye. Whereas I've seen that before. That's already out, and you kind of just dismiss it straight away.
Yeah, because there was Tormented Souls was there, which I played last year at EGX. I think it was at EGX anyway, but it's been out for 8-9 months at this point. So like, okay, I could wait 20 minutes for someone to have a go on that, or I could go and see if there's something new. But there wasn't really much new, and then we got onto the retro stuff again. But yeah, I think overall better. Hopefully next year they take it and notch it up again. Either shrink the shop part down, or put it in its own separate. Because that place where they hold it, the XL is huge, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't see why they can't stretch it out and take some of the queue space out and put the shops like down that end, and then just have more games. But yeah, I guess there must be a reason for it.
I know feel Colin was. Oh, go on.
I was saying, I did feel like there was a lot of dead space. Like if you like near the back part, obviously you had where they had.
I wish there was dead space.
Well, yeah, they had a massive tabletop section and what was it, tabletop and card game section, which there was like 30-40 tables worth, and I feel like that could have been condensed a lot down.
Or even people, if that bit there, even people coming to, come play this tabletop. Like people actually come pulling people in. It wasn't really like that. It was just
it did do what you want. Instructors there to sort of entice people.
I mean, like if they had like a card book, because I remember me and you were talking about Ian. Like obviously you learned how to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but it was like I watched the programs, I've watched all the films, and I've like loved Yu-Gi-Oh growing up. But to actually learn how to play the game, I had to be clueless. If they had somebody like between 1 and 2, there was like a Yu-Gi-Oh starter class that would have dragged people down into that scene. I know I would have went into it for definite. Just there was things, like I say, it wasn't bad. It was certainly better than last year, but there was things that they could work on, as Jay was saying, for next year's event.
Yeah, 100%. They just need to. Well, they might not want to, but in my opinion, they need to get it back to what it was before the pandemic, which I know is easier said than done. But there was definitely a bigger sense of almost like excitement when you went into the old ones, whereas now you sort of turn up and like, oh well, there's some games here. But I mean, again, it was nice seeing everyone. It was nice seeing you again, obviously, and Daniel and bumping into a few other folks that I've seen that I've known from the past. But yeah, hopefully we can get more excitement and drama and I must get there and play this game. Maybe next year I'll have like Pikmin 4 there, and then I'll be all over it. But we'll
no hangover this year, which is sad.
But that was the show in general. Obviously, we've given our thoughts. Now let's get into some of the games we played, shall we? And should we begin with probably the most exciting one I think of the day, and also the first one we played, Sonic Frontiers.
Yes, surprise for me. Like literally, how I was complaining about it.
Yeah, we
took me back. I'm like, well, I'm playing this definitely.
Like we were standing in the queue, and obviously Ian was like, "It's too slow paced when it goes 3D, and it's just going to be this, and it's just going to be that, and blah blah blah." And then like having played it, and the open world area is really quite say open world, but the progressive open area that you go through,
3-bit.
Yeah, is good fun. It's like really nice to look at. It's the 3D's done well, like the traversal when you go in like the pipes and things like that. Looks really great. And then you get into like the areas where it is traditional Sonic. So I think when I was playing, when Gray got to the same part as me, where it was like a sort of temple run-esque, you were behind Sonic running through it. And then we'd seen as other players were playing it that you were in your more traditional sort of 2D facing the sort of Sonic running past you that way. No, I thought it was brilliant. It looked amazing. Regardless of the type of zone you were in, the game looked outstanding.
Yeah, I agree. That's me. It surprised me because obviously I was complaining about it. And actually going first, I'm like, this is what EGX needs, is those kind of things where like, oh wow, this is actually really good. I want to play this now. I'm actually going to pick it up. So finally impressed me. I'm
in the same camp as you, Ian. I've been a bit skeptical because as everyone knows, the Sonic cycle is sort of like, it could be good. It looks all right, play shit. Oh, the next one could be good. It looks all right, play shit, and just goes around and around. But yeah, I've said to you already, but I felt like the open world was a bit lifeless, probably mainly because there was no music. It was just like the footsteps and the grinding along and collecting the rings and stuff. So if they put some sort of
I kind of like that
I just found it a bit tedious.
was kind of like, the somber bit, and then when you go into the actual levels and stuff, that's when the music hits.
It can be somber, but I'd like something in the background to listen to other than just the pitter patter of his shoes running along.
They just want Sonic R in the background.
Exactly, yeah. Play some Sonic R tunes in there.
Sonic Race.
But yeah, in terms of actually traversing it and playing it, I quite enjoyed like unlocking the very few powers you got, and then unlocking the different like grind rails and spring pads and stuff to get to hidden areas to then collect more stuff and then fighting the boss battles and stuff. And that level, like I said, I can't remember the name of it, and it was over way too fast. I guess that's kind of the idea for Sonic, but I think
it was because of the demo. I think because of the demo, it might have been that. Hoping it was that.
It was. I mean, those levels tend to be quite short anyway. But I guess because I was enjoying it so much, collected the red star rings were there, and it was just grinding rails and loop the loops and super fast sprint bits and stuff. And I think I thoroughly enjoyed that.
I think me and Ross did the same mistake of where we were on the tutorial bit, and I thought, oh, I've done it. I've done the loop. Wait a minute, this is doing the same loop again. Oh, I can press start to skip this.
Oh yeah, bloody tutorial bit.
Yeah. What about yourself, Ray? Did you enjoy it a bit more than you expected, or were you outlier?
Well, no, I thought I thought it might be a little bit weak because the 3D ones are sort of really hard to get just right. But it seemed to do a good enough job. It didn't seem sort of dull, and the sort of the enemy battles are a bit more trickier than you thought you'd have to. I mean, it's got some deflection in there, running certain rings around there to cause kind of damage. And when the enemies are like firing the missiles at you, kind of running down in that sort of split view to try and dodge out the way of missiles, it kind of felt a bit more like cartoonish, like cinematic, like you were actually involved. It was quite cool. But yeah, just a shame I didn't get to test that bit right after the tutorial. It kind of cut off the demo. But the demo did its kind of job anyway. As a taster session, it definitely...
it definitely. Yeah, you're right.
When
is it out?
November 8th or something. Something like that, yeah. But yeah, this is this particular demo is the exact type of thing I want to see from EGX. Like 20 minutes. There's enough demo stations for everybody to have a go, because there was quite a lot of stations, weren't there? Even though we waited for a while, there was quite a lot of places for people to play it.
It's only half an hour, really, but it's probably the longest one we waited for.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, but it gave you a good taste of like 2 different sections of the game. Then it splashed up there. Thank you for playing, and you look sort of left. But I want to keep playing. Like, let me carry on.
Let me do some more.
Yeah, that's exactly what this should do, and that's what EGXs of the past have done with things like Dishonored and Tomb Raider and stuff. So I was very happy with this demo. All round thumbs up. I do want to write something for the site at some point, but I just haven't had a chance this weekend.
We did make a slight mistake queuing in the Sonic queue for as long as we did, though, because if we went to the TikTok area, it had Sonic Frontiers in there as well, and there was no queues. Yeah,
I did notice that when we went past where you played some eFootball and that. Yes. So yeah, that was definitely the highlight, I think, for me personally. Did anybody else, Graham? Did you play anything else that sort of stuck out to you throughout the day, other than Bomberman, obviously?
I did. I mean, obviously, I think we all had a touch on this Steam Deck thing, which was impressive technology as it is. But I got shafted with the crud game they stitched me up with. And I could have just done sharing the same library, because different Steam Decks had different games, which I thought
that's
like your queue.
That
if you
really
queued for a long
me.
time and got stiffed with a shit game, you'd be annoyed. And that's
me and Jamie had a really good game,
which was the only blessing. But yeah,
the Steam Deck that was next to me, Gray, had Yakuza. That was what the game was. It was on mine. So I got some Escape from Monkey Island shit that was basically just reading simulator. Dan got he got Elden Ring, didn't he?
Elden Ring, yeah.
And then the one that was next to me had Yakuza on it.
That's the one Graham should have
could
gone
have
for.
been.
Yeah.
What could have been.
And that's the thing. I think the experience for that, you had to take whatever you got with a pinch of salt. So from the actual hardware point of view, I was shocked at the size of it. It really feels really well built. Loads of functionality between having like your touchpads on the front for if you're playing a type of game, for a bit more like that. The triggers at the back felt really solid. The screen was beautiful. Really nice big screen, crystal clear. Did overheating would maybe be one of my worries, because I wasn't playing a very intensive game, and even in the sort of 5-10 minutes that we were there, I could start to feel the back of it getting pretty warm. So if something that's a bit more taxing is running on it for any length of time, I'd be a wee bit concerned by that.
Yeah,
I think the game. Go on.
Go on, Nick. No, go on.
I'll say the game that me and you had was I was thoroughly impressed with, and it kind of showcased the whole of the scene. It was Death Job, wasn't it?
Yeah, Death Job, I think it was called. Yeah, Death Job. Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of for me and Jay is perfect because it's set in the kind of the Portal universe. So for us, it was.
I got the pop up for that when I went into the library, and then I tried to enter, and it was like enter in your parental pin. I was like, "Fuck."
But yeah, that did a great job because it was basically a tech demo. So it showed off the touch screen and the touch pads and the analog sticks and the triggers and the back paddles and the what's it called?
Gyroscope.
Gyroscope.
And then I thought it was fucking brilliant. But did obviously you weren't a big fan of the game, whether it's called Neon White or whatever. But in terms of just the device itself, did it amazing. Sort of win you over?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I said, the graphics were good. The screen size was decent. Felt good in the hands. It's everything you wanted from like a portable kind of handheld gaming kind of setup. And obviously, it plays your Steam games, which is the first one to do it like this in a very decent way. Obviously, it's a pretty costly device, but I just wished if they're going to showcase something decent like this, don't stick a turd like that on it.
Yeah, give us a sheer library at least.
Or something, you know. It's like, or even if it's all the same game, but it's an impressive, high detailed game to properly show it off. Like Kaka was playing Neon White wasn't taxing at all, but as taxing as what Ross was playing.
I say if you did want to play Death Job, it is on Steam, so you can for free, so you can just pick it up.
Yeah, see what it's like.
It a go.
Doesn't quite have the same go on if you're not using the Steam Deck, I imagine.
No, not the same go, but yeah, it's still brilliant.
Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed that whole story because it wasn't. We played the whole thing, didn't we? Basically, the story was good and stuff. But yeah, cool. What about yourself, Ian? Anything stand out to you other than Sonic that we mentioned?
I actually surprised I did enjoy Modern Warfare, even though it's the Call of Duty. Maybe because I killed loads of people and I was good at it, surprisingly. But I think I just had fun. I'm looking forward to it, as I will say with Vanguard, how pretty much poor it was, well received, and wasn't that great. Going back to his whole Modern Warfare roots is going to be enjoyable, and carrying Dan to a loss is always fun.
Nice. How many people were on a team? Was it 8v8 or something?
It was 8v8, yeah. So it was nice because all 8 were in the same like kind of area. So 8 was on one side, 8 was on the other side. But no one was really talking with each other. They were just more in their zone and stuff. But I kind of really enjoyed that. So yeah, that was good fun. Also, I did kind of like obviously it was not an Xbox or any kind of console. Is that Hadouken game?
I don't.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We can discuss that quickly before we get to Ross. So, do you want to explain the concept of it?
The concept. Is it? What is it? It's not VAR.
It's AR. Yeah.
Yeah, AR technology. Yeah. So basically, you wear like a headset, and which was fun for me because I had a massive head, so I had to kind of shove it on me with my glasses and kind of yank it backwards so it kind of stays on my head for me. Yeah. But that was good fun. And then like I say, you saw it's like was it 3v3? And you've got kind of move your arm motion. If obviously audio listeners just got to kind of move your arm forward and backwards to kind of shoot, and then you also have a shield. You can charge that up, and then you kind of throw your hands up in the air. Yeah, which I didn't learn how to do the first round.
Because you got you got the screen on the headset you haven't used, which is like an iPhone, and then they also strap an iPhone to your wrist, so that's what takes the motion. And like you said, if you lower it down and raise it up, you can bring a shield, or if you fire it next to your head, you fire bullets at the opposing team. And was it 4 lives, wasn't it? And then you knocked it, or 4 hits, and then you lose a life.
Yeah, then you
4 hits, and then 4 hits, and your shield goes down. Is it 4? And then you hit.
Yeah, I think then you have to hit them in the shield, or you have to hit the last shield bit takes their life away.
Yeah, and you've got 3 seconds that you're killed for, and then you come back in,
and then you respawn. Yeah, that's it. For the audio listeners, just think of Austin Powers' karate chop, and that's kind of how you throw the fire.
It's like AR dodgeball is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
And supposedly it's actually like an esport guy was saying, wasn't he?
Yes.
So there's actual teams that properly play this, which I imagine must be fun to watch, even if you're just seeing like 6 grown people doing this next to your head.
Yeah,
but they're doing like roly polies and stuff. I was like, with that gear on, it's a bit chancy.
They were properly going for it in the esport competitions.
But yeah, we played it, and Daniel, the ever confident man that he is, decided that the best way to go about it was me and him against these three. And
old versus young.
I mean, I'm gonna stand up for myself a little bit. I put up a decent fight. I think I've got a good few kills both into the 2 rounds we played. The first round, Daniel got 0, and the second round, I think he got 4.
Shot corner.
Which was not bad. But yeah, you 3 properly trounced us. So well done. We had to buy the first round of drinks and stuff.
It was funny how the guy was like, "Oh, people with 2 work
statistically, 2 work better than 3."
Yeah,
you haven't seen these two.
I was like, have you seen the pair of us? I think we got no chance here. But yeah, no, it was good fun. And that's the kind of thing I like EGX for as well. The stuff that you wouldn't be able to play at home. There's stuff that's a bit weird and a bit out there that you've either got to get more physical or you've only got certain hardware that you wouldn't physically fit in your home type thing. So yeah, so more of that, please, EGX. Thank you very much. All right, Ross. Anything stand out to you other than what we've played? I mentioned already.
Yeah, I had 2. Unspottable, which I don't know. Did you play? Oh no, you played with us. You played with me and Gray. Yeah. I was a massive fan of it. I thought the game was hilarious. I think me, Gray, and Ian played it on the Friday, and then me and Dan went back around.
It was me, you, and Jay.
There was Jamie.
Was it Jay?
Before, but it was Jay that was
because
I was just Modern Warfare at the time.
Jay kept trying to get you, Ross, and he kept missing.
Kept missing.
Punching the air in front of you.
Punch something else, and then
I think to give the listeners an idea is basically you go to a map and all the characters are identical. So the first part of the game is trying to find out which character on the screen you are, which to watch Dan try and do was hilarious.
I wish I'd have played with Dan because I can imagine.
It was brilliant. So basically, you all start the same character, and different maps have like different stipulations and different things that you can do. So I think like one of them was the sushi parts, where if you collect X amount of sushis, you can leave the building, and that's a way to win. But obviously, collecting the sushi makes you stand out because people can see like if you collect X amount of sushi. And the idea is to try and knock out the people who aren't the robots. And obviously, if you start punching people left, right, and centre, you give away your position, which means everybody else who's playing can see that you are the person that they're trying to hunt down. But it's such a simple premise, and it was just one of the most hilarious games I've played. I absolutely loved it.
It is a lot of fun. I reviewed this one. Again, this is one you were saying. It's been out for about a year at this point, I think.
Yeah.
And I reviewed it, and I really enjoyed it. And the kids still were actually playing it this weekend, just off their own back. They were just scrolling for I want to play that game again. And the guy was saying they're adding online play at some point soon.
That'll be...
So once we've got online play, then yes, we definitely need to...
That's incredible. When that comes to online play, that'll be amazing.
If that ever goes online Game Pass, we know what Game Pass is going to be.
Yeah, definitely. Because do you think they'll not... Will they be able to increase how many players it is?
It depends. I suppose they could do because it's 4 players a minute, yeah. But I don't see why they couldn't up it to 6 or 8, perhaps. Again, technical wizardry notwithstanding, of course. But it's a good game. And that, in my review, that was pretty much the only real negative I put, that you could only play it locally. And at that time, we were still sort of in the midst of the pandemic. So I was like, well, I can't really get anyone around to play it. So it's come at the wrong time now. But yeah, hopefully they can bring online and maybe up the play count. And we definitely have to have a go when they bring it out. Yeah, 100%.
That was fantastic. As I say, such a simplistic game, but just tons of entertainment behind it.
And it's currently 60% off.
Ooh, even better. Even better.
I might pick it up actually now.
I might just do that when I'm sitting on the show.
Yeah. And what was the other? You said you had 2. What was the other game that sort of caught your fancy?
The other one was Inertial Drift. So it was it's a constant racer. You've got control over your accelerator and brake, things like that. But the premise of the game is your car can't turn in like a traditional sense. Like if you pull the left stick to the left, your car will move, but instead of like trying to turn like that, it will just angle itself. Because the whole point of the game is you have to try and drift as much as possible. So you would flick the right stick the opposite direction to get the back end to step out to make it go around the corner that way. It was set up as a mini competition. 1 lap on this map, do it as fast as you can. Graphically, it's got a sort of cel-shaded type look, which drew me straight to it. Dan was actually commenting saying that I seem to have an affinity with these games that are sort of cel-shaded. Really like the style of them. The idea of it is again simplistic. It's just an A to B racer. There's nobody else on the track. It's just a time trial type idea, but it's the sort of uniqueness of the car doesn't steer, and you have to learn how to manage your speed at the same time as drifting, because you also want to keep as fast as you can go, but the faster you go, the harder it is to drift. So there's a risk reward strategy of that. Beautiful looking game. I was talking to the guy who was doing the stand, and he's telling us that it's coming on next gen upgrade, so it's going to be 4K 120 hertz, which will be amazing to play because it'll be just pristine smooth. For somebody like myself who doesn't usually delve into lesser titles or indie sort of titles, obviously picking up a few bits and pieces for yourselves in the last year or so, like Killer Coming Back and things like that, I was really surprised at how good these games were. So that's one thing that EGX has allowed me to do, is to pick up these sort of smaller titles, get hands-on with them, and actually realise, oh, wait a minute, it doesn't need to be AAA game or a massive developer behind it to actually have as much fun as I did. Because as much as I enjoyed playing sort of the eFootball with Gray and Dan, Sonic Frontiers, the retro games at night, I would probably say out of all the games that I managed to get hands on with, Inertial Drift or Unspottable were my two highlights of the weekend.
Yeah, that's a good chat. I mean, both of them. I've actually reviewed Inertial Drift 2 years ago as well. The first.
I noticed that when you said that, I was like, "Oh,
I was just looking up quickly just to see. I gave it an 8 at the time. And I remember enjoying, like you said, flicking a stick to it constant. Like your car's basically going sideways the entire time. And some of the tracks towards the end of that release got pretty damn hard.
Really?
But it was good fun though. It was good fun. So again, old games, but still, it's bringing a new life to it, a new audience, because someone like yourself who've not heard of them, uneducated heathen.
Uneducated,
But no, good. I'm glad you found some good classic games and newer versions of classic games that are great.
And I won't delve into it in too much detail, but I also did go and speak to the developers at Sports Interactive for Football Manager 23, but will not bore you with that. Done that on the Saturday, and Dan sort of seen me walk towards it, and he was like, "Nah, I'm out, bye." He walked to the other end of the showroom.
Went back to the hotel to have a nap. Yeah, nice. Okay. Well, so that was it. There was a few other bits and pieces that we did there, but definitely looking forward to going again next year, seeing if they can keep the upward momentum going, as it were. Cool. Thank you very much. So should we get into a couple of bits of quick news, and then we'll move on to other bits and pieces that we're missing, we missed last week. So the main other news stories I want to sort of get you guys' thoughts on are that Phil Spencer says Xbox will look at letting players disable quick resume at last. Huzzah, Graham! I know you were particularly vocal about this in the past. Do you reckon? Is this up your boat? Oh my god! Fucking words, Graham.
Really
are you excited? Really up your boat? Yeah.
Are you really words?
Cash camel. That's what I'm all about.
Get those cash camels.
Hey, leave my cash camel.
So now he said they're going to look. Obviously, they haven't actually said they're going to do it, but they're going to look into doing it. Is this something you would make use of?
Yeah, I mean, there's games out there. I mean, FIFA's one of them. Fortnite's another. They don't need quick resume, because when you quick resume it goes mental and it kicks you out and goes sort of ape shit.
Yeah. You should be allowed to pick which game you want to quick resume. Like you can always have a list where it says do not put in quick resume.
Yeah, because you don't mind restarting that one from the main menu, but if it's actually harms you to have it stuck on quick resume, because either the games goes a bit glitchy or things go awry. Whereas
FIFA's the one that's annoying me just now, because it's the game I'm playing the most. As soon as I'm not playing my Xbox, click back in, you've been disconnected from the EA servers. Fuck's sake.
Every time.
Yeah, and you're like,
one thing I don't understand is that not every game supports it. So it seems like developers have got the option to not include it. So why would EA include FIFA and Apex and Epic with Fortnite and stuff when they know it's not going to work properly?
I know why they do it. If you don't play things online, like the career mode or stuff like that, then it's fine to quick resume. You're not doing anything that involves being online on the servers. But you could probably ask sort of 9 out of 10 sort of FIFA players, they're either doing the Ultimate Team bit for online, or they're doing Seasons mode outside of it. Both are online stuff. So it's quite rare that you do get your career players and people that play it offline, but they're not the sort of the top 80% of people that play that game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the same with, like you said, Apex or Fortnite or Fall Guys. that's literally only online. So why would they even enable it
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
in the first place? Just don't enable it.
I assume it's if you do quickly load up something, you don't completely lose your game. Because if they don't have it at all, and then you quickly go, oh, I just need to load up this game quickly, or I just need to check, I don't know, my rewards or something something that switches away from your game, you could instantly lose it that way, and that could be quite annoying. So I kind of get it, but it's quite rare that you need to do something like that.
That's normally when you finish playing is when you switch to your rewards
Exactly.
or your library or something. But so we'll see. Again, he's said they'll look at it, and I mean, surely something like this can't be the hardest thing to implement.
I think my initial thought was that it would not leave enough space for something that I really did want to keep in my quick resume. I think that was another annoying bit. So don't keep I mean, you can remove them, obviously, kick them out of the quick resume bit, the ones you don't want to. But if you've got a way of stop them being held, then that's even better.
Yeah, because then you're having to remember to actually kick the ones out that you don't want on quick resume.
Yeah, because you can pin. I think it's up to 2 now that you can keep in quick resume, so that even if no matter how many other games, it won't get rid of them. But yeah, you need the ones like you said, the opposite way.
I think even that has an expiry on it at some point. Like you can't keep it pinned for ages. Because I had that Yakuza one on for like a week. I didn't touch it. Went back to it and it restarted it anyway.
I think they unpin or they lose their quick resume if they get an update or if there's some sort of change to the state of the game, as it were. So obviously, I guess that won't work, but at least it's a start. But now we just need the opposite. Do not quick resume me any more Fall Guys, please, because it just makes
me
FIFA twice as long.
Takes longer to load in.
Yeah, well, no, because you realize you go back into it, been kicked out of the servers. Great, now go out, quit out the game, and then reload it back in again.
And reload it anyway. Yeah, so you've just granted it's only 5-6 seconds of your life,
Yeah,
but still, it's annoying.
It's an inconvenience.
Yes, especially when everything else is generally quite so smooth flowing and convenient. So, no, it's good. Took a good choice to take a drink right then, as everyone shut up. All right, I think we're going to skip over the other 2 ones there because unless anyone really wants to talk about either of them.
Which one was this? Disney, Cyberpunk. Go Cyberpunk for getting their finger out their ass and fixing it, and then it leads credibility to the fact of it clearly was the outside company, Saber Interactive, who done their job very shoddily, because now that it's came back in house, it's been rectified, everything's running much better, it looks a lot better, it runs a lot better, and now I think on Steam it was the highest selling game over, or was the most played game over Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
I think because of the anime, wasn't it? The Edge Runner.
Yeah.
So
I think that's probably helped, Mars. That's probably done my favour as well. But the game must be in a good enough place that people are willing to jump in and play it. Yeah. So it makes it seem like, I get obviously the size and scale of the game was they had to bring in an outside quality control group. But sometimes is it better to take an extra 6 months and test it in house and get it what you want it to be, instead of some company coming in half-assing it, putting out a terrible game on launch, and you having to build up the reputation of the game after it's launched?
That's one thing I was going to say. The new anime on Netflix, Edge Runner, absolutely brilliant. I'm on episode 4 and I'm loving it. I definitely recommend anyone who likes Cyberpunk or who loved the game, check it out.
So I've not looked into the anime at all. Is it to do with the game, or is it just set in the universe?
It's set in the same universe, so nothing
so
to do with the game.
You don't follow V or anything like that.
It's completely separate, but it's in the Cyberpunk universe, in that city, Night City, all that malarkey.
I think I'll add that to the list. I haven't even watched the Resident Evil Netflix program yet, let alone bloody Cyberpunk.
Well, Cyberpunk's better than Netflix, then
Resident Evil. Yeah, I understand Resident Evil's a bit cack, but
just watch some Jeffrey Dahmer. That's all you need to watch.
Who?
Let's move on. Right. Let's do some quick. Don't ask Ian. Let's do some quick hit news reads. Then Scorn's release date's been moved forward. It's now a week ahead of. It was due on the 21st, and now coming out on the 14th of October. So not very long to wait for that at all. Very excited to play that. Coming to Game Pass day 1.
Game looks so fucked up.
It really does.
It's so fucked up.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, Ubisoft's Skull and Bones has been delayed by 4 months at the last minute. So it was due out, I think, was it this month, like in a couple of weeks? And now they've delayed it until March 9th, supposedly.
Comes out the day after my birthday, so I'm happy with that.
I'm so sad. A boat sim game is not coming out.
I can't imagine there's a great deal of people who are tremendously upset about this. But I mean, it's as if anyone's been keeping up with it, it's been announced and gone away and announced and hidden and delayed and surprised so much. It's just, why are you even bothering at this point?
The big issue was it not announced at a very similar time as Sea of Thieves was announced, like originally?
I think it was before Sea of Thieves, yeah.
And everything about it was like, yeah, Sea of Thieves is great, but it's awfully cartoony and does it like
this is
whereas
serious.
This looks like a real proper pirate simulator game. The game looks fantastic. Yeah, that was 6 years ago.
Yeah,
you're a real pirate.
It's hard back and delaying it, and
hard to stay like enthusiastic about a game that's been delayed this often.
Yeah, and especially like Ian said, a boat game set
boat
on water.
Game.
We're not interested. And finally, Dark Pictures and Man of Medan and Little Hope have got 3 current gen upgrades, which include the usual ups buffs of 4K, extra frames, all that nonsense. As
Actually,
well as
downloaded Man of Medan. Come on to see what it looks like.
Good man. I've been meaning to download it again. It got a brand new suite of accessibility features for players if they struggled with button presses, like someone.
Some people.
And also,
I'll never forget you killing him.
We'll worry about that. Let's and Man of Medan's also got an extra scene in it, supposedly, at the end of the game. New ending, and new deaths and new outcomes. I think they said in the thing, but again, I've not played it yet, and I'm not seeing anything about it. So hopefully, I'll get a chance to check it out this week.
I'll let you know, and I'll be back to you next week.
Nice.
Cool. Do you think, just a quick thrown out point, everybody's completed what's the newest one called?
House of Ashes.
Everybody's completed that?
Yes.
I wonder if
I doubt Graham has.
I wonder if it'll have anything to do with the ending of that CIA government.
Maybe, but yeah, I don't know. It's because I think, well, without spoiling it for anyone who might not have played it yet, I think the previous set of endings sort of, they kind of teased something that never quite came. So I think this is kind of gonna add to it and then round it off a bit nicer, perhaps. But we'll try it. Hopefully, me or Ian or one of us will play it, and at this point, some point this weekend, we'll get back to it, and we shall talk about it next week.
We shall.
Cool. All right. Well, that's about it for the news this week. There's not really much else to talk about. So, Ross, I'm feeling that I need a bit of plugging, please. Can you plug away, sir? Plug away.
Plug you greatly. You did also forget to mention about the update on the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt next gen coming out on Q4 2022. But I'll let you away with it. It's fine. I'll make sure I give you an extra proper plug-in because of it.
Oh, good.
So start at the end and work our way back up this time. So insert coin, Xbox Tavern 22 for £5 off orders over £50. Jay, are you rocking anything? It's a shock that you're not. Oh, no, there we go. So Jay's usually good for rocking some insert coin merch. I think we've all got quite a few pieces, bits and bobs, hoodies.
You know what? We were moving the kids' bedroom. Sorry to go on for a bit of a tangent. Moving the kids in our bedroom around. I had to take all my clothes out of the wardrobe. No word of a lie. Like about 25 t-shirts and about 8 or 9 hats and some trousers that I'd forgotten I even bloody had. Let know the stuff I bought recently.
Wow.
So yeah.
Is it all 3XL as well?
Yes.
Or do you? Yeah. Never wear shirts the same size, do you?
No, I don't like stuff that fits. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Discord links will be in the show notes. If you want to jump in, give us your thoughts on Game of the Year. We are also still doing the Guess the Game challenge. So I think, Ian, you had a bit of a mare today, didn't you? You were the last question before you got it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, you had a bit of a mare
today. Smashed it.
Yesterday, yep. I won't say the answer for people who are maybe playing backwards, but Ian got it first attempt. How he managed to get it from that picture, I'll never know. I got it on the second one. Even though Ian accused me of some shithousery. So jump into our Discord, jump into the Guess the Game challenge, Game of the Year, just general gaming chat. Socials, see them run all on the bottom of the screen: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon. TikTok, I'm sure Dan's probably put 100 of them up from EGX. We know what he's like. Speaking of Patreon, if you want to support us with your hard-earned money, patreon.com/Xbox Tavern. Shout out to our superstar supporter, Beth. Thank you very much for all your hard graft for us. It's much appreciated. Apple and Spotify podcasts, if you could jump over there, rate us 5-star, leave a wee comment underneath, helps us get more exposure, gets us into more people's ears, on more people's screens, gets us to become a bigger and better community. And last but not least, you can find all of our reviews and Jay's thoughts on EGX over at xboxtavern.com.
Nice. Thank you very much. I'm going to slide one extra little plug in if you don't mind. Just a little sneaky one after the
naughty.
This past Friday night, I was very fortunate enough to be invited onto the Game Site Chronicles podcast, which is a podcast by a lad named, his Twitter is @Bondfire777, and the Game Site Chronicles is Game Site Podcast. He does a one-man show generally where he talks about all sorts of console gaming, and he asked if I wanted to go and join him to talk about Xbox. So I did. We might have talked about a few other things as well, but we mostly stuck to Xbox and Resident Evil and Pikmin and Last of Us. So yeah, that'll be out, I believe, probably around the time that this one will be out as well. So if you want to go and if for some reason you want another hour and a half of me chatting away shit, feel free to go and have a listen to that. That'd be wonderful. But yeah, I really enjoyed talking to him, and hope whoever listens to it enjoys it as well. So thank you very much.
There we go.
Cool. So let's get on to whoa, skipping ahead, Ian. Let's get on to Xbox Game of the Year throughout the years. And we're a week behind, but we're not going to skip over what is probably one of the best years that we've had recently, 2018. So if you're not familiar with this part of the show, this is where we look through Xbox's history, and each year between the team and some of the community as well, we pick a game each that would be our Game of the Year for that year. And like I said, this year's 2018, and I'm going to go to Ian first because why the hell not, eh? Oh, Ian. All right, do you want me to go someone else first?
No, it's fine. I'm ready.
You got it. Okay, cool. Right, Ian, tell me what your Xbox Game of the Year would be for 2018.
So, shock half everyone would guess. I will do my shout outs first because it's obvious my Game of the Year. So, also special shout out to A Way Out.
Such a good game.
Such good. Yes,
so
thank you.
Unique and amazing. I loved playing that co-op. Fantastic experience.
Yeah, so I played co-op with my missus, all split screen. It was good fun, just the storyline was just brilliant. It was great.
And then the twist at the end.
Yes, I didn't see. I had a funny feeling, but then I was like, it can't
you
be.
sort of thought it, and then when it happened, even though you might have suspected, you were still like, you bastard.
Yeah, so that was good. Also loved Unravel 2. I loved the first one, and the second one was brilliant because we made kind of co-op elements into it. Again, beautiful game. Also, one final shout out was a quick one is Forza Horizon 4. But my piece of Game of the Year that I love too much has to be, of course, to bore everyone to death, Hitman 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, it was not a surprise, really. I think this one I preferred more than the first one because I think they improved on it so much more than they did with the first one. Because I think it kind of peaked. They changed a few concepts they had in like Blood Money. They kind of brought into the Hitman 2, like the kind of picture-in-picture. But say, for example, you go and kill, like you got to set up a trap for the enemy that you're targeting.
One side of the map.
Yeah, one side. You can go off, and then also when they do die, you have a little picture in the top about them dying. Yeah. Whereas in the first one, didn't have that. They just died, and you're like, oh, they're dead. So you knew what was happening.
I love the fact.
Go on.
I love the fact that they had and like Blood Money was my favorite. I say Hitman, sorry. So when that came back in, it was like, oh, that's like just because you can see the fruits of your labor, like you've went and planned and did X, Y, and Z, so you actually see the payoff and not just get like a wee thing telling you that the target's dead. It's like,
yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think just had a few more different elements. Like I had a couple of levels where it wasn't just killing targets; it was more like one level you had to kind of find a target and you had no idea who it was. Another level was you had to kind of pick up a couple of items or search for an item. So it kind of wasn't just all about killing the targets. You had to do other little variety of few little things here and there. I think that way just improved on it for me. So, and I think I just loved all the levels more than I did in the original one. Even though the first one was fantastic, I loved it. And the best thing about 2 is you could play 1 as well. So it all came in with the first game as well. So I had to play for all through again.
The hardships.
The hardships. But that's it. I love Insanity's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. For me, I get achievements. That's my love.
And that truly is insane. Cool. So Hitman 2, happy days, very nice. So I'll be surprised to see what it was. Hitman 3 this year.
Yeah, no, Hitman 3. No, it wasn't. It wouldn't be Hitman. Hitman 3 was 2021.
Okay, well, I was going to say when we get to the year, I'll see if we can, because didn't you pick the original Hitman as your game of the year whenever that year was as well?
Yes, it is.
3. I tell you this now. 3 on that year will not be my game of the year.
Whoa, that's the slipping a little tease in there. That is.
Yeah. So 2 was peak. 2 peaked it. Like it went 1, 2, 3 like that. So there's another game that's better than Hitman 3 that year.
We're gonna. I mean, there's no denying that. But cool. Right. Let's. All right. Cool. Thank you very much, Ian. Graham, tell me all about your game of the year for 2018, please.
Yeah, I was struggled a little bit this year, if I'm honest. I know there's a lot of games that you guys wanted to pick, but I just picked one that I did play through and complete and then kind of enjoyed, and that was Far Cry 5. It kind of, it's. I mean, graphically, the Far Cry games have always been pretty epic graphically, and the story of this one is just a bit far-fetched, but it's still quite as gripping as they all kind of are. There's always a super villain, and this one's kind of a super villain family, but they kind of believe they're a cult and law upon themselves. And the guy thinks he's like a born again Jesus in a way, and he's it's intimidating when you kind of get into this kind of the story, and then you have to sort of take on their family one at a time, and they each have their own kind of quirks, and you have to kind of band together with a kind of resistance in the area to sort of fight back at them. And it's Far Cry all over, and this one is probably on par with on 4 with me, the sort of the way the story plays out and the gameplay, etc. But still a solid playthrough, a solid story, and quite a long game, so value for money as well. And I quite enjoyed it. There was clearly bits I didn't enjoy where you couldn't avoid the kidnapping sections no matter how hard you tried. And the amount of times you get captured, it's almost Bond villain-esque how they kind of always give you a chance to escape every time. But that's probably the only kind of downside I have for it. That and the ending annoyed me, but other than that, it's solid game, and I enjoyed it. Love to play through, and you can play it cooperatively as we did for parts as well. Good.
See, what I enjoy about Far Cry, especially Far Cry 5, is that is Far Cry. If you played one of them, you know exactly what you're going to get, and it's just like crazy action, good first-person shooting, lots to see and do and explore.
Unlock this place by going to this waypoint, complete this objective, and that's it.
And like Grace said, like it's just fun, isn't it? It's not too challenging. You're not sitting there wrestling with the emotions of a cult, kidnapping and murdering people. You're like, I've got a flamethrower and I've got some Molotovs and I've got bow and arrows. Right, off we go.
That's another downside. They play with you and there's fire involved. It's pretty much you on any game.
Yes. One day maybe you'll learn your lesson, but we'll keep going until then.
Why am I on fire again?
Hello. Cool. Yeah. So Far Cry 5, great choice. Was actually high up my list until I looked through the rest of the games that I've chosen. Then it sort of got knocked down a little bit, but it's still a great game.
Start to reel them off then.
Okay, I'll set myself up. Sorry, Ross. You can wait.
You can go last.
My pick.
Saving the best one till last.
I'll give you my honorable mentions very quickly. Owlboy, which is a wonderful 2D platformer adventure, which I actually played on the Switch, but it came out like the same time on the Xbox, and it was tremendous. Just like old school, simple platforming action that looked great, played great, not too long, not too challenging, not too easy. Good. Almost my pick. If I had played it on Xbox, I probably would have picked it. Walking Dead Final Season, the Mark and Ninja remaster, and of course Shenmue 1 and 2 repackaged into one game finally at last. What a fucking time to be alive, eh? But my actual pick is I mean, we're going to get into this with special guest Pete pick as well. I'll just mention it right now. We both picked Red Dead Redemption 2.
Horse riding simulator.
Yes.
Ugh.
So we both picked up this game
Slowest game.
shortly after launch because we weren't entirely sure about it, but we picked it up at the same time, and we spent probably 5 months playing it together. Like, obviously not co-op because it's not co-op, it's single player, but like we'd be playing it of an evening for a couple of hours, and then he'd get to a point and he'd message me, have you got to this point yet? Yeah, I'm just about to do it. And then next night I'd be a little bit ahead of him and I message him, have you done this yet? Or have you found this yet? Or met this character or been to this town or got into this gunfight? And that made it more enjoyable. But just the actual, I mean, Rockstar fucking dog's bollocks really, and open worlds and story and characters and gunplay and everything. And it's just a masterpiece from start to finish. It's very slow, like you guys were saying, incredibly slow, especially the opening when you're getting through the snow and you're trying to sort of set everything up. I mean, they could have shortened that down quite a bit, but
yeah, when you're actually trying to get your camp set up.
Yeah, but just once you get yourself sort of absorbed in that world, and very few games these days actually get me that invested and like properly like in the zone, as it were, in terms of being sucked into a game. But I loved it from start to finish. I don't think I'll ever play it again because it's way too long for like a repeat play to play it how I would like to play it. But yeah, a tremendous game, and easily one of the best games that Rockstar have ever put out.
I thought that's what you were talking about there. I mean, you spoke to Kaninch. It took 5 months to get from one destination to the other on the horse.
I was going to say
That's it, yeah.
Like I said, it took us way because obviously I was playing other games for review, and he was playing his bloody F1 and all that sort of stuff. So we weren't just playing that game, but
that's a game what Quick Resume should be made for. Set it going and complete 2 other games before you can go back and get to that other destination.
That would have been ideal, but yeah, it was just, I loved every second of it.
It was like, go this way, go miles that way. You're like, oh, I don't want to. And you see auto run on the horse, like, well, I'm on my phone for a bit because I can't skip this or fast travel.
Yeah, I did do that a little bit, but then I found that if I did actual traveling, like paying attention, half the time I'd be like, oh, what's this over here? Or there's a hunting spot, or there's more characters to meet, or side missions or something to come across. And I ended up barely using like the quick travel or like the auto travel at all by the end, even though it took fucking forever to get anywhere. I was just enjoying just exploring that world. Yeah,
I got like chapter 5 on it, and then I stopped.
It was just brilliant from start to finish, and the ending, tears rolling down my eyes. Anyway, Ross, let's get to you now, shall we? Tell us all about your game of the year for 2018, please.
So I'll go with my honourable mentions first. As Ian was saying, A Way Out was one of my ones as well. Fantastic game. Great idea. The whole constant being in, sort of being able to see what the other person was doing. The other one I went for was AC Odyssey. Probably most years would have pipped it. But the one I went for, I put in...
1 second before you say, AC Odyssey was good, but I felt like it was never ending.
Oh, it was huge. It was ridiculous. And then they added DLCs in that were 40 hours long, and there was 3 of them, and it was... You never...
So I was like, has the game finished? I haven't rolled credits yet, but has it finished?
I've rolled credits on the main story. I still haven't finished all the DLCs, and I have put at least 150 hours, 160 hours into that game. It's unbelievable how like the game is huge. I mean, it's a great story. The DLCs are all fantastic, but the DLCs could have been their own standalone game. That's how big they are. So any other year probably would have picked it. Just the whole area that was set in regards to sort of the Greek Spartan type idea. Love the idea of it. But the one that I did end up going for was Forza Horizon 4. To date, and it could be because of the area. I might be a bit biased that I can drive past Edinburgh Castle and then it's like, yay! Scotland gets acknowledged as being a real country. It could be something to do with that, but no, I just loved it. I put so many hours into this game, whether it be online. I was always like the adaptive seasons. This is obviously the first year that they brought that in, where you went through sort of spring, summer, autumn, winter. The car selection, as with a Forza game, you expect it to look beautiful, so it was a beautiful looking game. No, it was just really great. I loved, as they said in the UK, introducing some of the events that they had. The showcases were awesome. Best Horizon game from the series so far, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, they went backwards with 5.
Yeah,
They
5's
should've-
great, but it's too much. They've oversaturated it.
Yeah, I think they picked the wrong location. Personally, they should have gone somewhere like Japan or something.
Yeah, the next Horizon. I think the next Horizon is the last Horizon, isn't it? They're going to have a hiatus from it for a while.
Oh, okay.
And it has to be Japan, if you ask me. The whole game needs to be set at night. You have to have hill climbs where like you've got corners that are like going around them like that. You've got to go through like the neon streets. Yeah, the next Horizon has to be Japan, but 4 is perfection in regards to an arcade racing game.
Nice. That's a good choice. I mean, we did play it for Project Game Pass. I forget what month it was, and
We did, and we enjoyed it when we got on it.
yeah, when we could get it to work,
Oh,
it was
God, yeah, forgot the
passable
lobby.
fun. Yeah, I mean, myself and Graham probably not quite game of the year material, but it's good. I mean, it is.
They seem to be getting more joy from not playing it than playing it when they put their car on auto drive to get all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That was 5. That was 5.
That was 5, yeah, where you could just set it to like
overnight.
auto
50
drive,
laps.
yeah, and you set it so that it had traction control, no drift, auto drive, and a 3-hour lap race that you completed 50 laps of, and then got 16 million credits and God knows how much XP. Yeah,
That's the best way to play a game. Not play it at all. Right, cool. So, yeah, thank you very much. So, like I said, special guest Pete also picked Red Dead Redemption. You did have a couple of honorable mentions, though, including Far Cry 5, Walking Dead, Jurassic World, Evolution, Donut County, and Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
great game.
Which was a great game, and I believe is also still in Game Pass here.
Yes,
It is.
Definitely check that one out at some point. Nice. Well, yeah, like I said, next week will be 2019. So if you want to get your answers in, hit us up on our Discord, which Ross alluded to earlier on, or on Twitter, or in the comments of this video, and we'll come back and check it. Entirely up to you. Let us know what your game of the year for 2019 would be. That'd be wonderful. All right, let's bring ourselves forward into the modern day, and we're going to talk about our Project Game Pass game as it's now the 2nd of October. Our September game is up. We chose Midnight Fight Express, which is a single player sort of isometric brawler game. It coming to Game Pass, I think, early last month. Daniel reviewed it. He was fairly high on it. And we've talked about it every week or so since then. However, the only person we haven't heard from so far is Ian.
Yes.
Before we give our sort of final scores and verdicts. So, Ian, tell me what your opinion of it, please.
I actually really liked it. I'm going to keep playing it. I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't start earlier. But yeah, actually, it is good fun. I mean, it is, but I think sometimes you find it a bit of a few annoying bits. But like I say, once you've got kind of like a build and you kind of learn how to do the like the parry and like, picking up weapons and stuff and kind of changing how you play. Yeah, really enjoyable. I think on mission 14, I want to say.
Yeah.
I've just done like the wave racing bit, and then I've done a few more levels after that. So yeah, really actually thoroughly enjoying it. I'm surprised something so simple, actually really good.
Yeah, good. It's good. And so anyone else played some more in the last week or so?
Yeah, I did. I think I've got into, there's only 40 levels and I'm into the 30s of that now. I want to sort of get to the end of this one as well. Yeah, there's a lot of different builds to play through. Once you get so far, you almost max out all of the different paths anyway.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
The only one I haven't done is there's a rope path. But
I saw that. When do you unlock that? Oh, okay, you're not at the end.
Yeah, I'm in the 30s and I still haven't.
That's fine. Because what was weird about that was the rope was like in between that and the gun. So I was like, that makes no sense.
It confused me. You get the gun a bit later, and it's like a slow reload. You get like one bullet, and you can flick between the bullets, and it takes a bit longer to reload to use. But it can come in handy when people start with guns because you can get rinsed in seconds against people with guns. So you literally roly-polying all around the map to try and avoid all the guns.
Yeah, I'm roly-polying phone stuff, roly-poly phone stuff, roly-poly phone stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, the missions are literally, they only take about sort of 5-6 minutes per level. And some levels are harder than the others, so it might take a bit longer. But yeah, it's kind of like a little mini strategy to each kind of level as well. I quite enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's one of the games where I think I might like say 2 or 3 levels a night, just trying to get through it all and see how I get.
Fair enough. What would you say, Frost? You played much more of it at all? Or have you played it at all? I can't remember. You haven't touched it.
You have a go at me.
I feel ashamed for not, but between trying to get stuff done for Football Manager, EGX, and then FIFA dropping, I just didn't have a chance.
See, I feel like this might be one of those ones where you've just discovered Unspottable and Inertial Drift. In about a year's time, you'll go back to him like,
yeah, I'll go back to God. That's actually really good.
Yeah. Well, I've made my thoughts clear on previous shows, but it's good. It's just not for me. I don't think, even though I like those sort of games generally. I did another couple of levels. Was it Wednesday or Thursday night? I can't remember. And I got to the end of the second one. I was I don't want to do this anymore. It's just not grabbing me at all, which is a shame. But like I said, if I could play in co-op with someone, I'd probably enjoy it a lot more. It's just whatever it is not got the stuff to get me excited to play it. I just end up getting bored after, even though the levels are only 5 minutes. I do one or two, and I'm like, no, that's enough. I'll have enough. I want to go play something else now. So, all right. Should we give our scores quickly and then we'll reveal the new game?
Let's do it.
So, Daniel obviously did his review, gave it 7.5. I'm going for around 6. Ian?
I did right on the sheet, but ignore that. I'm going same as Daniel, about 7.5.
Yep. And Graham?
Yeah, I was same up at 7.5. I mean, it's not epic, but it's a decent playthrough. So 7.5 for me.
That's fair enough. So we'll tally that up. We'll average it out, and then that'll go onto the website where we've got a page for all of the games we've played, where you can see all of our previous scores and gameplay clips that we've made. So you can go check that out. We've picked a new game. I don't know if Ross is aware of this yet, but we picked a new game. For Project Game Pass. We discussed it last night.
You went in discussion
while I was half asleep.
I really feel like we should have all picked it, but okay.
It's how it goes, isn't it? It's how it goes.
Did you play the last one though?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we discussed amongst ourselves last night, which hopefully everyone will be happy with. I'm sure Daniel will. There's a game coming to Game Pass on the 11th of October, which is Evil, which is a social deduction multiplayer game, much like Project Winter or Among Us, where the idea is there's 2 bad actors in a group of players and everybody's trying to complete tasks, but the 2 bad people are trying to kill people or cause them to fail. And it looks like it could be good fun. So we should check that one out. Evil. It's E and then Village in like a city place. EVILLE. This is the one. The trailer's on the screen now. It's sort of like medieval theme, so it's a bit of witchcraft and hocus pocus and all sorts of goodies. Yeah, so we'll go check that one out. That'd be wonderful. Unless anyone's got any better suggestions, but we'll go with that for now. Ross looks well confused. Hopefully,
I'm reading up about it.
Good.
But I haven't got my glasses on, hence the squinty eyes.
It's a squinting. Yeah, I can see the eyes. Like, Yeah, so hopefully we'll play that one when it comes out in a week or so. Excuse me. And it'll be good fun, I'm sure. We enjoyed Project Winter. Those of us who played together so far enjoyed things like Among Us. So yeah, we'll give it a go, and we shall report once we played it. But let's get on to things we are playing that Ross is more aware of, including, let's just pull the Band-Aid off, shall we?
Do we have? Should we save it to last?
4 of the 5 of us have been playing this wonderful new release named FIFA 23. As I understand, it's the final football game ever. So we get that out of the way and we don't need to talk about football ever again.
I don't quite think that's what it is.
They said they're not doing any more FIFA games, so that's the end of football forever.
It's not called FIFA. Nice try.
So I'm going to give you my quick thoughts because I played it last night. And it's FIFA. So, Graham, what is your thoughts on football?
Hey, great, Jay, you did really well. You lost.
You
I only lost 3-0. No, was it 3-2? Sorry, 3-2 the first game.
Oh wow. Oh no, I thought you meant be your one.
That was against amateur.
That was the easy setting with the women's teams, and then I played world class or legendary, whatever it was, and I think it was 3-0 in the end.
Yeah. once again, that it's from an outsider who's not into the football games. It can easily be seen as the same game as last year, but those that do play it solidly know how different this new one is compared to the last one. It's everything. It's all subtle, but it's massive for those that play it constantly, sort of every year.
Wait, I forgot. Dan said 10 minutes, and you've got 9 minutes 30 left.
Well, I'm just speaking about the main kind of bits. I mean, as far as everything's the same, yes, the same things are there. Volta's back, Ultimate Team's back, Career Mode's back, Pro Clubs is back. They're all there. But I'm not going to sort of bury the lead. Sort of the main people that play sort of FIFA definitely do play the Ultimate Team, which is where money seems to be involved, buying packs, etc. It's where the main focus seems to be, but not to discount everything else there. A lot of the other sort of things do get played, and they are good fun too. But yeah, it's just they've said they new like hypermotion technology kind of thing, and you kind of do see new animations. The goalies, the way they kind of move is way more realistic than what they have been in the past. They don't look as daft, and it's just they've tried to sort of bring a new, different balance into the game, because usually when the game resets back into a new game, it's all about try and get the people with the fastest players and then just try and run past everyone. And it's been that way for probably like the last 3 or 4 years. But this one, they've tried to tackle it a different way, and it's quite unique. Sort of, you can't just use the fastest players to sort of run it through anymore. And yeah, just everything feels different but the same, familiar, but the fluidity, they've kept that there. That's something that even the eFootball couldn't get a touch on, the fluidity of the actual game. It's not as sort of broken up or choppy as that kind of game is. But yeah, I'm already sort of hours into it, and yeah, it's already going to be a firm favorite of mine this year. And yeah, I've already been playing it today already. It goes to show you how much of this week has been dominated by this kind of game. And yeah, there's just so many intricacies around just even one game mode in the ultimate game mode that people talk strategies with those that are football fans, and people sort of recommend different players that they've probably not heard of before. And the way they've kind of mixed up chemistry this year means people can make their fantasy teams have a bit more variety to their kind of team without sacrificing some of the perks that come with picking a team from the same league, etc. So although that doesn't mean much to non-FIFA players or non-football players, but it's decent. Let's just say they haven't they have for the Switch anyway. They've copy and pasted the same game and changed the names again, but not for the major consoles. And that's probably one of the biggest things. They've proper emphasized on the crossplay this year. So Xbox and PlayStation share a market now on the Ultimate Team, so that there's no one has a better market than the other. And you can play against people on the opposing platforms now, and you can play with people from opposing platforms and go co-op with them in the same game, which is something.
Is that the first thing for this year, or did they do that before?
They trialed it last year, but not so much for Ultimate Team. I think it was season play that you could play against the opposing side, but they've really properly integrated it this year.
Yeah, what's quite good now is as Gary was saying, with being crossplay, like, so there's certain game modes, or there's certain parts of the objective section in Ultimate Team where you can do like friendly competitions, and you have to do X amount of tick box exercises that basically you get packs by completing, say, score 50 goals, for example. And what they've done now is you can now link up in Ultimate Team to do that with a friend. So like me and Gray could jump into a friendly game. I could let him score 50 goals. He gets it. Then we'll jump into another friendly game. He lets me score 50 goals. It's done and dusted. We both got the benefits for it.
50
a lot.
goals?
Just a random.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It's not really. If you play it on beginner in a 6-minute game, you can score 50 goals ridiculously easy. So things like that. So it's just wee bits like that, because a lot of times last year they had sort of things where if you wanted to do that sort of achievement, you sort of had to message the guy like before you kicked off and was like, I'm doing this objective and I have score 3 headers. Can you let me score 3 headers? And if you've got anything to do, I'll let you score 3 goals from outside the box type idea. So there is a little bit, especially when it comes to like the friendly scenario where you don't have to like use like draft tokens and things like that to get in it, where you've only got limited amount of things to do. You could sort of like work a system that you got what you need to get out. Whereas this year, because it's got like cross-play, where even if your mates play on PlayStation, you can jump in with them and do it, as we're saying, on Xbox as well. So it's building on what Gray was saying in regards to how it's the same but different. The meta, or how they like apply it, is completely different this year. As Gray was saying, it used to be you wanted players that had 90 plus pace, run past everybody, and that's all you had to worry about. Whereas there's a lot of different techniques that you can use this year. So a big thing that I've noticed, which has been lacking in the last couple of FIFAs, is crossing. Last few FIFAs, crossing was null and void. You didn't really get any sort of benefit from crossing, unless it was you were using a really fast player, a low-driven cross to the back post because he was the first man in, and a tap-in. That was really the only benefit you got from it. Whereas this year, you can actually work on crossing from deep to pick out a tall striker and get the benefit that way. You don't need to necessarily have just pace. If you have players who have, they've got a new system called Accelerate, and it's basically they've got 3 different types of running systems: explosive, I can't remember the middle one. Lengthy and explosive are the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum, and then controlled, is the middle one. Explosive is what you'd expect from like a player like Mbappe, who has super quick pace off the block, first 5-10 yards, really difficult to keep up with him. And then you've got lengthy, which are players who are bigger built, taller, who still have a lot of speed, but they take quite a bit of time to get to that top speed. But once they reach it, it's really difficult to keep up with them. And they've made that much more feasible this year. So players like a Haaland, who is a more physical presence, has every bit as used as an Mbappe, a Messi, who are really short, sharp, quick players. So it's nice to see that they've actually tried to develop the game and not just have like one-trick ponies of buy the fastest players, run as fast as you can past the opposition, and score basically one-on-one goals.
Thank you.
And
I think Jamie's dead.
Jay's dead.
Jay, wake up, Jay.
I was taking this opportunity to sort my will out.
There's 2 minor bits they've added in which you do enjoy, Jay, which I made you try yesterday. One was the super power slide, so that means a more beefier slide tackle.
Oh yes, not that I got a single red card, so it's not fucking any good, is it?
Well, you have to still hit the player. You still have to aim,
Wow.
which you saw about your aiming was a little bit off. And the other bit was the power shot, the wind-up power shot.
Yes, actually, speaking of the aiming and stuff, I don't play FIFA every year. Normally, I play one game like when it comes out, and that's it. But I noticed in the trial or the demo match I was doing before I even got into the menu, that when you were aiming to pass or cross or shoot or something, it put like an actual cursor where my analog stick was aiming for the. I've never noticed that before.
So I
was like, no, that's why I'm fucking missing all the time, because I'm well off where I'm aiming and where I think I'm aiming is completely different.
So that's FIFA. That's the FIFA Trainer. You can turn that off, or you can scale it down a wee bit.
Or up for him.
Or up.
I was going to say more of it. I need more, please.
Yeah. So basically, you can have it on screen that when your player's got the ball and the positions they're in, like it'll tell you which buttons that you can use at that exact moment. It shows you, as you were saying, like the direction that you're passing. If you hold down the pass button, it like the arrow gets longer because it's going further away and things like that. So you can ramp it all the way up to really make it easy.
Easy. And that's what I want.
You've got the opposite that you can turn it off completely. So
yeah. No, I thought that was interesting because I've never seen that before. So that explained a lot of things. But like I said, I've played 2 games now, so technically I need to skip next year's. Although this is the last football game ever, so maybe I'll play one final round for old time's sake. But I mean, general thoughts are it's good.
Yeah,
better than last year, or like a worthy new release, not just another reskin and renaming of players and teams and stuff.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's better than last year so far. I'll leave it at that.
Good. Gray, have you been playing anything else, or have you just been stuck into FIFA?
Well, that and the Game Pass game. That's the only kind of real things I've been dabbling into today. This week.
Good. Okay. Well, let's move on to Ross. Have you played anything else other than FIFA? Or have you got anything else to say about FIFA?
FIFA. If I've not been playing FIFA, I've been sitting on my phone on the web app buying players and selling players for FIFA.
Cool. Good. All right, let's move on to someone else's, shall we? Ian, you've been quiet because I know you love a bit of FIFA like I do.
Yes.
But obviously you haven't quite grasped, got your hands into it yet. Tell me about
No.
2 other games you've been playing that you've obviously enjoyed just as much.
Oh, I would not say that I enjoyed these titles. I would say the first one to talk about is Session. So this is a review game I've got, which will be coming out this week. But just a quick note on it because I ranted at Jamie about it. It's unnecessarily hard to the point where it loses its fun very quickly. And I know it's sort of saying, oh yeah, it's meant to be hard. It's a skating game, we want to make it hard. Why? There's no need. There's no need to make it hard. And it's just after what it took me like an hour. I need to progress the story. So it took me an hour to do this one mission where I had to do manuals. I couldn't for the fucking work it out. I had to go to a YouTube video to figure out what I had to do by watching some guy do it. And then I'm like, okay, that's how I need to do it. And then me trying to do what he did he made it look so easy. I was like, yeah, Dad, you're not getting a 10-minute starter because it's 10 minutes of me falling over constantly. So, but it's just, I feel that's me. It just ruins this fun story. There's some aspects which are fun, like, it's got 3 different areas, so like 3 big cities. But then again, even the cities are quite empty. You can put pedestrians in there, but as soon as you skate towards a pedestrian, they run out of the way, so you can't even hit them. That's what
I'm sensing a lot of violence you're willing to do at the moment.
Exactly. And that's me. I think for that, we'll obviously have more deep dive in my review. But yeah, at the moment now I want to play a bit more just to see if it does get a little bit better, or is it still going to be more frustrating? Yeah. And maybe it's not for me. Like I said, I've seen other reviews and stuff that you mentioned, and they all say the same. It's hard, it's difficult, but there is some sense of reward. But for me, there is no reward. It's just depression.
Nice. Nice. Well, let's I was going to say, let's roll on to your other one, should we? What have you been playing? The other title.
The other title I've been playing, which is also not as fun, is I said like it is good fun. It's called, I can't even pronounce, Solstice.
I believe that's how you say it.
Yes, and this kind of has this weeks from Devil May Cry, heavy influence of Devil May Cry and like Bayonetta and stuff. Hack and slash, good fun. Again, towards the beginning of it, it's quite a bit barren, the kind of the areas you have when you're first starting. But then, towards when you progress more, it's got quite a deep dive story. For once, it's actually got voice acting, which I always love for video games to have voice acting. If it's got voice acting, it gets a couple of plus points for me because fucking reading in video games, after a while, you just start pressing A and skipping all the dialogue. That's another thing I started doing in Midnight Express. I started reading the story, and after a while, I was like, yeah, I'm not reading this anymore. I'm just skipping and playing the game.
Yeah, no, I skipped all of the story I played so far. B, dun.
That's it, yeah. After a while, you just get that, and it's like, okay, I'm done now. I'm going to keep moving on. That's why I dropped to a point because I was like, I've come to skipping the story. I've got no idea what the story is. So at least this one has brilliant voice acting. They've nailed it really well. They've hired some really good voice acting for it. And yeah, for this one, it's actually a bit of fun. Again, there's a few bits which are a bit annoying because obviously some enemies, you've got 2 kind of different auras, which is like red and blue. So yellow then, red and blue, and you've got constant change between the 2, and that sometimes become like a fucking light game at the end of the day. It's like go red, kill the enemies. Go blue, kill the enemies. Oh, go blue again because the enemy is hidden because you can't see it. Oh, go normal so you can kill him. I was like, come on, just give me hack and slash like Devil May Cry, where just go crazy and do that. And obviously, again, she's all jumping all over the place and has insane strength, just like Devil May Cry has. So yeah, really good fun so far. Again, very long as well, though. Like, I think most chapters took me like 30, 40 minutes. And even then, when I was doing where it says a chapter time, so like it's like BA rating, like, so that's fucking 35 minutes. How is this a A, mate? Like, or whatever the color. It's that A. They've got different colors. So it's like, I think it's like platinum and also got weird different colors of that. But it's like the equivalent of that. I was like, what the fuck have I been doing? So yeah, good game so far. But again, I want to play some more because it is again one of those ones which is ridiculously long. So it's finding the time and the patience to do it.
Yeah, no, I've got it downloaded. I haven't had a chance to start it yet because I'm playing a few other things, but I definitely want to give it a try because I watched a demo. I think like a trailer before it came out of fight against like a big head, it's like a big purple head, and then as she beat it up, it sort of split apart, and an enemy come out of it, and then it come back into it again. And the head was like the shield, as it were. It looked really weird, but it looked quite fun. So yeah, if you want to try and give it a go at some point over the next couple of weeks.
No,
but damn sure.
I think it's one of those where I do actually kind of want to complete it just to see where the story goes, because I'm actually following the story for once in this one. So I do want to kind of complete as it goes. Again, there's a few elements that are quite frustrating, and obviously it's got a steep learning curve. Oh, hiccups.
Yeah, that's the part I'm not looking forward to, but I'll get into it. But yeah, so anything else, or should we move on to? Well, I guess it's my turn, isn't it? But
no, other than Isonzo yesterday and Fall Guys. No.
Cool, nice. Okay. Well, I've been playing this game called FIFA 23, as we mentioned. No, fucking no, that like I said, I've had 2 games. That's enough. It's
so what? So to think of that, don't.
It's passable. The main 2 I've played over the last couple of weeks that I'm allowed to talk about anyway are the Gallery. I reviewed the Gallery for the site. It's a live action F&B choose your own adventure style game, like the Complex or 5 Dates or any number of them titles that we've enjoyed in the past. This one comes from the guy who actually wrote my favorite one, the Complex, but I forget the company's name now. It's not Wales Interactive, it's a different company. And the premise is there's 2 scenarios. One set in 1981 where you play as a female, and one set in 2021 where you play as a male, but they both follow the same basic story. So they're an art gallery owner, and they got an exhibition coming up for the week for the day after when we play, and they're displaying quite a high profile portrait. But it's also at a time of like a lot of civil unrest. Like the 1981 is about like government corruption and stuff, and then the 2021 version is about the pandemic and the government's handling of that. And without spoiling too much, obviously the curator, the character named Morgan, is taken hostage by a character named Dorian, who's trying to fight the system and make a stand and make a statement and stuff. And the idea is that they're sort of interrogating Morgan, the art curator, about their personality, about their life choices, trying to get them to own up to any sins, or trying to make it make a political statement using them as their sort of muse, as it were. And I think because it's so politically charged, and because it's also a choice-based game, it kind of doesn't work very well. Because at points he's threatening to shoot her in the face, and then the next moment they're having a friendly conversation about the aspects of whatever artist, like brushstrokes and stuff. Is that? But you're effectively, for want of a better term, a terrorist. But you're sitting here discussing like what they call Rembrandt and Caravaggio's paintings and stuff. Is that doesn't quite work? And some of the choices, you've played the Complex, Ian, right?
Yes, I played the Complex. I played pretty much all of them. Yeah.
So you remember in that where the choices would come up, but even though obviously you could play it all sorts of different ways, it always felt like one complete story, like one like smooth.
It kind of like a film.
There was like a film, and even though you'd go in different directions, everything to me anyway felt like it was meant to be. Whereas this one, you can always tell when a choice is coming up, because like Dorian will be saying something, and they will just suddenly slow down and stand there, and then it'll switch to Morgan. The choices will pop up, and then it'll switch back to Dorian, and then there's a very clear change in like tone, or
so it doesn't flow position. Well.
Yeah, it doesn't like from scene to scene doesn't quite have that same smoothness that I found the Complex had. And it's also a bit weird where they sort of overemphasize the choices at points. So there's one where because Morgan's sort of stuck in a chair for a little bit under threat of being exploded. And at one point you can either shout out the window for help, or you can talk to Dorian and get to know him better. And if you pick the one where you get to know him better, they have a little discussion about whatever they want to talk about. And then after that, he goes, "But thanks for taking an interest, though." And then you get a little relationship meter, and it ticks up one notch to say he's more friendly towards you. And it almost ruins the moment, because you're like, well, I've obviously picked option A. I should have picked option B. And they might as well label it good and bad throughout. Like this is the right option. This is the wrong option. Which one do you want to pick? And even though there's quite a lot of different endings, I think I saw like 6 or 7 of them. It just...
How many have you done?
There's 18. I think I've done about 6 or 7.
18. Bloody hell.
Across the 2 different stories. And
drastically different or not?
the ones I've seen, a couple of them were, because, like I said, there's that relationship meter, and there's 6 notches on it. So what the first one I did, there was no notches at all, and it went horribly wrong for Morgan. And the second one, I had all the notches.
You doing the game horribly wrong, suppose.
Exactly. But then I tried to mix it up and get a couple in the middle and a couple of different variations. And the basic premise of the story changes. Is literally just the last scene, whether X happens. Again, I won't spoil it. And it did start to warm to it towards the end of like my 3rd or 4th playthrough, but it's definitely not the best one I've played. Nowhere near as good as a Complex. Nowhere near as good as
5 Dates. No.
I haven't played 5 Dates. I want to, because he also wrote that one as well. But it's more on par of something like She Sees Black Clouds, like good, but not great. And a single playthrough is only like an hour, and you can skip scenes when you replay it, so you haven't got to watch the same thing over and over again.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, they're like they do with like the other ones, obviously. Like.
Yeah, but yeah, it's I think because of the political nature of it, it's obviously very. It tries to aim a bit higher than perhaps it should, because depending on your choices, you might end up going completely against what's going on, and it doesn't quite mesh, which is a shame. The 2 different scenarios are quite interesting though, because like I said, they both follow the same story, but one's from a female's perspective in the 80s, and one's from a male's perspective, and they do differ substantially in terms of how they handle the situations at points.
So did they play at the same time, or is it separate?
No, it's separate. So I thought there would be some sort of like intermingling of them, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Okay. I preferred the woman's story, the 1980s one, though. That seemed to have the better flow, even though it still wasn't quite right. Whereas the male's one, I only played once or twice, and I didn't really enjoy that side of it. Maybe because it's still fresh, still pandemic stuff, but I didn't really get on with that side so much. But it's worth it if you like those sort of things. It's definitely worth a look. But I would definitely point you towards something like the Complex first, rather than the Gallery, which is a shame. But there's always next time, eh?
Yeah, always next time.
Yes, and the only other game I played, which actually was on Xbox, I must confess, but it's a great game nonetheless, Inside, which come out, what was it, 2016, was it? I think we discussed it in someone's Game of the Year a few weeks ago.
Dan's Game of the Year.
Dan.
Yes, Dan, that's it. And when the Queen, RIP and all that, when her funeral was on, my missus was watching it, and the kids were quite happy playing in their room games and stuff. So I thought I bought Inside on the Switch. It was £1, I think it was. I'll just have a quick go, see what it looks and runs like, because I'm going on holiday in a few weeks, so I wanted to save it and play it on the plane or something. I sat there and just played it through one sitting from start to finish. It's such a great game. It's so expertly crafted, and even though it's very linear, obviously you're just going left to right basically, with obviously some puzzles and stuff to solve, but the way they put the puzzles together and the way they integrate like the action moments, it always feels like, oh, am I going to make it? Oh, I just about made it, even though really you've got no choice but to make it. You can't really fail it unless you try. Like there's one bit where there's a mesh fence, and you have to hop over it, go to the door and try and rip some wood planks off, but there's dogs chasing you. So as they come around to get you, you've got to jump back over the fence to get them to come back round the other side. And the timing on it is very generous, but it constantly feels like, oh, am I going to make it? Am I going to make it? I'm like, oh, I just about made it. Success. I've survived another trial, and it's only a couple of hours long, and it's just fucking brilliant from start to finish. Absolutely enjoy it. Like, I played it before. I played it on the Xbox when it came out, and I just, like I said, I was only going to play it for about 5-10 minutes to see what it was like, and I just sat there for like 2 hours, just all the way through. Brilliant, start to finish. And the
it's one of those games.
Now I've got to find something else to play on the plane. But yeah, if you haven't played Inside yet, I think it's on Game Pass now as well, so you got no excuse really. Obviously, you played it, Ian. Ross, Gray, have you guys played it?
Nah, not Inside, no. It's very similar to Limbo, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah, it's the game that made after Limbo, yeah.
Yeah, done Limbo, not done Inside.
Same thing, but I think it's much better than Limbo.
Yeah. I really like Limbo, but yeah, Inside is definitely a step above. What about yourself, Gray? Have you played that one yet?
I haven't touched Inside yet, no. I wasn't a massive fan of Limbo, to be honest.
I would highly recommend giving it a go, even if you only do. Well, again, it's only short, but even if you do like the opening section, if that doesn't grab you, it's not going to grab you at all. But I think it's well worth a go. It's fucking brilliant. And I'm looking forward to what's their new one coming up. Somerville, is that right?
I
think it's coming to Game Pass. I think it's next year. Yeah, very very keen to check that one out, of course. So cool. That's about all we've been playing this week. Again, I've got a couple of ones that I can hopefully, looking at the date, I think I'm going to talk about next week, which I'm excited to tell you all about. But that will have to wait. Until then, let's talk about a couple of quick reviews from the other guys before we round out with our usual segments. So, Jake reviewed a game called Time on Frog Island, which he gave a 5.4. It's like a top-down like adventure, chilled out thing, which he was quite excited to play, but it didn't quite live up to his hype, I don't think, or his expectations, I should say. And Still Rising. Who reviewed Still Rising? Graham.
Me. That was me.
Yes. Your review's now up. Excuse me. Give it 8. A decent little. It's like a hack and slash game. Is that right?
It is kind of
or
hack
like
and
a
slash.
Soulsy type game.
It's Soulsy in style, but not Soulsy in unnecessarily difficult. It's a bit of it's an easier Soulsy game, should we say? Not to say it's a cakewalk, but it's based on automatons, and it's a good kind of hack and slashy kind of game. Yeah.
Oh, so yes, you can go check them out on the site now, xboxtavern.com, as well as, like Ross said, my thoughts on EGX, and hopefully at some point soon my Sonic Frontiers impressions. But we shall get to that at some point. Right, gentlemen, if you want to know things that come into Game Pass, Ross, there's quite a list here. I don't know how up to date it is. But...
I will fly through these because obviously we're starting in October, so there won't be much announced yet. But since we've not been on for the last week or so, I will fly through these, covering from the middle of September to the end of the month.
Nice.
So we've got amazing. I'm not going to go through where they are. Just search them, you'll find them. Amazing Cultivation Simulator, September 14th. You Suck at Parking, September 14th. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, September 15th. Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony, September 15th. Despots Game, September 15th. Fuga Melodies of Steel, September 15th. Metal Hellsinger, September 15th. Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch Remastered, September 15th. Outer Wilds, September 15th. Deathloop, September 20th. Beacon Pines, September 22nd. Slime Rancher 2 Early Access, September 22nd. Grounded 1.0 release, September 27th. Moonscars, September 27th. And Valheim, September 29th.
Nice. So quite a lot of decent games in there. Ian, have you started Deathloop yet? I meant to ask you.
No. Every time I want to start a game, I get either roped into my son to play Minecraft.
He keeps thinking he should jump into FIFA instead. That's what it is.
Yeah. Join us, Ian. Join us. However, obviously, it's not all good news. Things come in, things go out. Ian, what's leaving us?
So what's leaving us on October the 15th is Bloodroot, Echo Generation, Into the Pit, Ring of Pain, Sable, and Game of the Year, The Good Life.
I mean, it's about as far from Game of the Year as you could possibly get as The Good Life, but devastated to see that one go. Into the Pit's really good. I enjoyed that one quite a lot.
Yeah, no, we never got a chance to play it, and now it's leaving. I'm like, sad times.
You still got some time. You got some time. Cool. And Graham, if you're not up with the kids and keeping your cool Game Pass Ultimate subscription going, Games of Gold, what can we have?
You have Gods Will Fall from the 1st to the 30th. Well, that's gone now. We haven't been updated, so I have to quickly check.
I'll tell you what, you read the ones that are there, and I'll quickly look for the new ones.
Bomber Crew and Windbound.
We got Bomber Crew and Windbound, and Double Kick Heroes is still there till October the 15th.
There we go.
Cool. So go check them bad boys out. Obviously, no 360 games going forward. September was the last month, so if you missed out on picking up Portal 2, you're a fool, because obviously Portal 2 is amazing.
It's annoying there's only 2 games this month, but
as we've said many times, and many people have said, that no doubt focusing more on Game Pass now, and the games with gold is like, well, no one really uses it anymore. I'm sure there are plenty of people who use it, but they should be on Game Pass Ultimate at this point. However, anything else before we wrap this shindig up, gentlemen?
I feel like that's all for this week.
Cool.
I feel like we haven't abused Dan as much.
No, we'll be nice. Dan's not here because he's broke his finger, to be fair, so we'll give him a pass for this week.
So he might have just broken a nail.
That's
Yeah.
true.
He was playing. He had told me that he was playing 11 aside tonight, so I'll give him the benefit of doubt that he is a goalkeeper in the 11. So I'll give him benefit of doubt that he's broke his finger.
He obviously went in a bit too hard. Right, gentlemen, thank you very much
He
for
loves
tuning
catching
in.
those balls.
Thank you for tuning in to Xbox Tavern. We Xbox Tavern's X-Pod Tavern episode 94, which we record every Sunday at 8 p.m.
Ish.
I forgot to do it at the start. I'm disappointed in myself. Yeah, so yeah, find us on youtube.com/Xbox Tavern official, as Ross said, xboxtavern.com, at Xbox Tavern on Twitter, all sorts of goodness. Just find us there. That'd be lovely if you want to watch and subscribe and follow and chat and all this sort of stuff. Remember to give us your games of the year for 2019 in the Discord or Twitter, and that'd be wonderful. Read them out. As for personal plugs, you can follow me at Enaxan. You can follow Graham
At Graham Reaper,
Ian,
And Nutty Ray.
and Ross.
At Scottish Gruff.
Thank you very much for listening. We love you. Have a wonderful week, and we shall speak to you next week. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye.
Peace out.
We still got the dubstep going.
Dubstep? No dubstep.
Oh.
We need to bring it back. Bring back the dubstep.